It was a tournament that transformed women's football on the continent. Australia and New Zealand 2023 was a World Cup to remember. So on this week's show, we're taking a look at the legacy of the competition. Hello there and welcome to Football Now. Now the Women's World Cup party may be over, but we're in Sydney to see how Australia is getting on just a few months after hosting football's biggest competition. On the pitch, it was a tournament to remember for the Matildas, who not only captured the hearts of their nation, but they captured the hearts of the watching world too. Off the pitch, all sorts of ticketing and viewership records were broken too. It's safe to say the sport has really made its mark on the people down under.
Come on, Julie! Can't express how proud I am of what we've managed to achieve with this tournament. It's something incredible, and I think we all had high expectations as football fans of what it could bring here, but I think it's just exceeded it.
I feel like the Matildas have come a really far way. From the start there was only a couple of fans, and now there's just 17 million people that are here supporting them, and it's crazy how far they've come.
That's just great. It feels like your favourite band that used to be an indie band is now the biggest band in the world. And it's great.
I'm so proud. It's a very big inspiration for all these little girls, especially knowing that now they can get big and all these people there to support them.
Well, despite incredible performances from the players on the pitch, the final was overshadowed by the post-match behaviour of the Spanish FA president Luis Rubiales, leading to his resignation 3 weeks later. This was following swift action by FIFA, which saw Rubiales suspended from all footballing activity pending an investigation. And we caught up with their president Gianni Infantino before the final and asked him about the legacy of the competition.
Well, I think the future is definitely for women's football, and it's not just a PR thing. It's not just something that we say. It's really the facts and the figures which show it. And half of the world population are women, so it is obvious that this is going to grow. This is going to prosper, and already now there are not many men's competitions which can compete with this FIFA Women's World Cup. So starting from there, I think the path is all open for this to become as big as the Men's World Cup.
Well, this year's winners were awarded around €100 million for lifting the Women's World Cup. Compare that with the $400 million that Argentina earned for winning the men's version last year. In fact, such is the nature of the women's game right now, some players were even juggling 2 jobs whilst competing here in Australia. But with more eyes on the sport than ever before, could we finally start to see a level playing field?
I think it's, as cliche as it sounds, it's going to inspire the next generation, boys and girls that, they have these idols that have made it so far before. When I was growing up, I didn't have these female idols in football because women's football wasn't as accessible. It's always been popular to play it, but now there will actually be an avenue to be able to go professional, to dream about winning a World Cup, and that's something that we've never had ever before. And a lot of discussion here has been around the funding. Football doesn't get as much funding as the other bigger codes do, such as AFL, cricket and rugby league. So hopefully this is a push that we can get more funding, especially at that grassroots level, so Australia can continue to become bigger and better when it comes to women's football.
Well, you couldn't come to Sydney without paying a trip to the host of the World Cup final stadium, could we? And as you've heard just there, women's football continues to move in the right direction, and that goes for African football as well. Nigeria, Morocco and South Africa all qualifying for the knockout stages, the first time that 3 sides from the continent have done so. So what does that mean for African football?
As a continent, we are still celebrating that historical moment at the Women's World Cup. So much was happening behind the scenes, but still the African team stood out. Even Zambia, that did not make it out of the group stage, they actually had a moment where they got their first win. So we are celebrating all the 4 teams, and because of this performance, it actually shows African women's football is a force to be reckoned with. The quality of the players is very, very good. And also for the coaching staff, a huge congratulations to them, because they also showed they can actually match up to the standards of other coaches from across the world. So that is why we're celebrating African women's football, such a good moment for the continent.
Well, we weren't the only ones to make the journey from Doha to Sydney during the Women's World Cup. Qatar 2022's Generation Amazing sent 10 lucky representatives to give Festival 23 a helping hand. It's all been organised by the sports charity Common Goal, and the key aim of theirs is promoting gender equality.
We had a group from Qatar, Iraq and Palestine that came and attended the festival. They got to meet other delegates from different countries and different backgrounds. And it was an amazing sort of learning experience for them, obviously from a cultural aspect. And you know, this is the legacy of the World Cup from Qatar. It's the legacy that continues. You know, the World Cup ended in December, but the legacy for us doesn't stop. And that's why Generation Amazing Foundation was established, to carry the legacy forward and to connect with mega sporting events down the line. I mean, it's amazing to be here, honestly. Like, you know, we've been getting the World Cup vibes again. And I think, you know, this is a great time for Australia and New Zealand. And I think we're very lucky to be here, and we're very happy to have been part of the legacy of this World Cup.
Yeah, the future looks bright for the women's game. That brings us to the end of this week's show and our time in Sydney. Do let us know your thoughts at home using the hashtag FootballNowWWC Legacy. We'll see you at the same time next week. Bye for now.